Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
All right, here we are on a Thursday, almost to a football Friday, almost there tomorrow. And then it's the Packers and the Bears Saturday night. Can't get here soon enough. 7 o'clock, kickoff for that one. Green Bay football postgame show, powered by Lakeland University with Josh Albrecht and myself. He's filling in for Tommy Wirtz on Saturday night. Josh Albrecht and myself, Saturday night, 10 to midnight on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, whether it's at WNFL, 99.7 FM, the Flamethrower in Green Bay and Appleton in the area over there. Wausau, 93.9 the game. Duluth, Superior, 710 the game. Milwaukee on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan. When that game is done, you make the switch to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, and we rock and roll. Good or bad, we will be here. Hopefully we'll be celebrating and not crying after a Packers loss to the Chicago Bears. Lots to get to coming up. Mike Golic Sr. of Golic and Golic on FanDuel Sports Wisconsin and NFL analyst for Westwood One Sports on the radio broadcast. He's doing the Packer-Bears game coming up on Saturday night. I had a chance to sit down with him about an hour ago and have a conversation with him about the Packer-Bears game coming up. So we'll play that back for you coming up in the very next segment. So looking forward to that. Charlie Sounds of the day, as always, at 3:40. Green and Gold update. Interesting comments from Josh Jacobs to get into today that he talked about yesterday. Jeff Hafley with some good stuff yesterday, too. So lots to get to on the Packers and the Bears. However, we're going to start with Giannis. Now, I have done my best to avoid talking about this and the Bucks and so forth, and we've been very Packer heavy on this show because I was just sick of getting mad every time this came up, and then it would just ruin my mood for a good hour or so after that. Thinking about it. Here comes a piece in The Athletic. Sam Amick wrote a great piece, had a chance to talk to Giannis while he was on the West Coast at the Chase Center late Wednesday night after they lost, apparently. Watched that game last night. Folks, before I get into these Giannis quotes, I'd like to tell you that those of you that think, and I know there are a lot of you, I think Ryan Rollins is going to be some superstar. It's not happening. I mean, is he a good player? Yeah, he could be a good role player. Yeah. Could he be second scorer on a bad team? Yeah, sure. Yeah, you give him enough shots. Yeah, you could probably be that. Nice player. But all this nonsense about, we can't trade Ryan Rollins. And then Kevin Porter Jr., there's another one. Now, last night, people are like, Kevin Porter Jr., you can trade him. He plays recklessly and so forth. First time watching, that's what this dude's done his whole career in the NBA. You knew that when you got him, right? That's who he is. Giannis knows what he's dealing with, too. And the turnovers, man. Good Lord, in the first half, I think they had like 9 turnovers in the first half of that game. Dumb stuff. And a lot of conversation about this Bucks team and it's Doc Rivers' fault and so forth. Could be. Not saying they wouldn't be better maybe with a different coach. Not saying I have an idea of who that would be because quite honestly, I'm not really too concerned about it at this point because Doc Rivers isn't going anywhere as we stand today. But some of it also has to do with basketball IQ with the guys that are on this team and the guys that were put on this roster to go out there and play and where their basketball IQ technically really is. Because there is some head-scratching stuff that happens in these games. Giannis goes to post up, and then Bobby Portis goes to post up. And then the ball gets it's stolen from Bobby. What are we doing? What are we doing? See, that's the type of stuff. Like a guy like Ty Windish from Your Set Podcast loses his mind on social media over dumb stuff. Loses his mind. And so do others. Okay, I just had to get that out after watching that Warriors game last night. I was like, oh, my Lord. Okay, so Giannis sits down. Sam Amick. Giannis, quote, "There will never be a chance and there will never be a moment that I will come out and say, I want a trade. That's not in my nature. Okay? Giannis could opt out of his contract summer of 27. Now, I want to ask this question, and we're going to. Does Giannis and his comments change your view on how you approach the rest of the season now? I am saying, hey, man, I'm never going to ask for a trade. So y'all don't got to worry about that. I'm not asking for one. So we can just do what you want to do until my deal is up. Now, he didn't say he wouldn't leave in free agency. He didn't say he wouldn't opt out in free agency. But as far as asking for a trade while he's under contract, not going to be a thing Giannis does. Now, I don't want to be negative, but there better not be a loophole that he plans on using later of, hey, that was my agents asking for the trade. I never asked John Horst for a trade. That was my agents. They're their own people because they work for him, right? So if those agents ask for a trade, Giannis, whether you actually said it and it actually came out of your mouth to a Bucks representative or not, that's on you, dude. If they ask for a trade and you technically don't do it yourself, that's still you doing it. Like, you're still going to be tied to this for asking for a trade, whether they do it or you do it, because they're your representation, right? And you have to sign off on this one way or the other. Because if they do it without your knowledge, then they ought to be fired. And you should seek new representation. I think that is a fair assessment.
I think that's extremely fair. I think if your agents, honestly, based on what's happened already, if this is how he feels, his agent should be fired already with everything that's been going on. He should be angrier with what's been reported from people at ESPN and some of these other sources. Yep. Like, he should be more mad than he is, and it shouldn't have taken him this long to have said this. You had been complaining since last year that he wasn't saying this, and not until very recently I had started kind of getting upset with it too.
I was sick of it. So and now, finally he said it.
But then also, what comes from this now? Like, again, do Shams just get to walk away clean? Does everybody just get to walk away clean from spreading lies, apparently?
This is the thing, though, right? So Shams can just still stand on, and he ain't going to say who his source is. But Shams can still stand on, like, I'm not going away from what I've been saying. Because if the agents are the one behind the scenes pushing to get him out, then Shams is right. And Giannis, by saying, hey, man, I'm never going to ask for a trade, technically he could be right because he physically never went into anybody's office and asked for a trade. His representatives may be doing it, but he's not doing it, right? So that would be the loophole, to which I swear on a stack of Bibles, I will never forgive this dude if that's the loophole that we find out about later. I'll never get over it. We're done. Like, never, ever will I move on. Ever. He opts out to go play somewhere else. No problem. He leaves in free agency, doesn't opt out, but last year of his deal after, the summer of 27 plays that year out and he leaves. I got no problem. No harm, no foul. You come out and you say this, I'm going to take you at your word. I quote tweeted earlier, said, made my day. He finally said it on the record. I don't want to go anywhere. I'm not asking for a trade. That's all I've been wanting for the last year. And he wouldn't do it. So finally, thank God for Sam Amick, got him to say it. So again, very, very happy that he finally said it. Very happy. Now, more from Giannis as well. He says, I think I've answered this question a lot of times. I'm not throwing a knock at you, but I keep on saying that conversations that are happening between other people, third parties, is something that I can't control. I can't control what you're going to say with my agent or with my best friend or with my chef. I can only control what comes out of my mouth. And not one time have I shown that I'm not invested in this team. And if there was a time on the basketball court where you've seen that, oh, Giannis doesn't look like he wants to be a part of this team no more, I want you to pinpoint that. There's never been an interview where I've said that. So I don't know why people discredit what I say. Like, even when your article will come out, people will say, yeah, but. Okay. So Amick follows up. Sure, but that's kind of why I wanted to see if you were willing and comfortable to say, listen, I'm not going anywhere right now. Again, credit to Sam Amick for putting him on the spot. Giannis says, I'm not going anywhere. I'm invested in this team. I want to turn this team around. I want to play good basketball. I want to be healthy. I want to help my teammates. I want to win games. Last 6 games we've played, we're 4-2. We've had a lot of games in front of us. I'm locked the bleep in. I'm locked in. My priority is just staying healthy. Then he goes back. It says, as of today, you know how they say this thing about your significant other or your wife? You always have to say, as of today. Sam Amick not backing down. I hear you, but that's the stuff where the fans are then going to say, oh, he's leaving it out. And he says, I don't care. I really don't. It doesn't affect me at all. What I care about is basketball. I want to be good at what I do. And there's some things that I have to do, which I will do on the basketball court. But until today, my guy, Nick Monroe, who is a Bucks Director of Contact, has been with me for 13 years, and it's been great. Tomorrow when I wake up, it may not be great. Today, our relationship is great. Tomorrow, it might be different. It's the same thing with my wife. Until today, my wife is great. She's a great mother. She's a great partner. She supports me until today. Tomorrow, she might wake up and be like, I don't want this. I fell out of love. Until today, me and John have a good relationship. Tomorrow, Horace might think there's something else out there, and he might have to do whatever he has to do. You know, for me right now, today, I am committed. Not 100%, but 1,000,000% to my teammates, to my craft, to this team, to the city. 1,000,000%. I don't look right. I don't look left. I look only to the next game, which is the Lakers, and I want to win that game. I want us to stack wins before the All-Star game to get ourselves back to the race. We're what, 11th now? This is not who we are, you know, so that's the only thing in my mindset. Sam Amick not backing down. But you're planning on being here through the end of the season, correct? Giannis says, my plan is to be here for the rest of my career. If they don't want me, Sam Amick says, okay, but you're the one in charge of the situation. Let's be real. I'm not the one in charge. I am an employee. He said, no, you're not. I'm not letting you get away with that. I mean, I'm telling you, Sam Amick would be so mad I'm reading this on the radio right now because this is beyond a paywall. But he says, I'm just being real with you. Look at it this way. I have a family office where I have employees who work for me, people who run my whole life. Business, the day-to-day, investment, real estate, venture capital, endorsements, everything. It's between 8 to 12 employees, but I'm in charge. You want to know why? Because I'm the boss, the chairman. But on the court, I can only control what I can control. I'm not in charge. Somebody writes my check. Tomorrow, the person who writes the check might say, I don't want to write that check no more. Let somebody else write that check. And it goes on. Folks, Sam Amick deserves whatever you want to give him. Nobel Peace Prize, I don't know what other great humanitarian awards there are, because that is the best job I've seen anybody do, and not letting him skirt and get away. And I'll give credit to Giannis for not walking away and being like, dude, I'm done. Like you're trying to get me in trouble here, and I'm not fish. I'm not playing this game. Because he could have walked away. Like after 2 or 3 questions of Amick wanting a real answer, he could have left. And he didn't. He stayed there. He did the whole interview. There's still more to that interview if you want to go check it out at The Athletic. But Charlie.
I mean, all of that, what I heard from him says he wants to be here and he's going to be here. I didn't really like the whole I'm just an employee thing, because you're not just an employee. Like, I know you guys love me here and I love being here, but if you guys were to somebody not write my check, nobody will show up to write that check. I'll be gone. I'll be done if you guys didn't want me to be here.
I can get you a job somewhere, though.
Well, yeah, for sure.
I'll take care of you.
I'm saying if Giannis, if somebody doesn't go and write his check or something, he's going to come for the Bucks and he's going to have the Bucks in the palm of his hand figuring out how to sign that check. You have more power than what you're leading on to be. And I get it that I agree that he should be focused on the court. He should be focused on the basketball. That's what I've been saying when I was defending him a year ago in this situation, is that it just seems like he doesn't care about all this outside noise.
Right. The whole idea of tomorrow I may wake up and they may not want me. I'm going to promise you something right now. They will never wake up and not want you. I promise you. And when your next contract is coming up, and they have the opportunity to pay you like $75 million a year,
should just say yes.
They're going to write the check. It will be up to you of whether or not you say yes or no.
It should be easy.
But again,
that's what you're saying.
But hold on. Again, he said trade, right? So this would not be a trade. This would be him choosing to go somewhere else for less money or whatever the case may be. There's no chance that's happening. There's just no chance. Now I really want to know what's going on with Peter Feigin. Now, because again,
There's something else is at bay here, I think, because the Fagan thing makes no sense to me. Him walking away makes no sense.
I know we've talked about how close he and Giannis, their relationship was. At the same time, the way Giannis talks in that interview, waking up the next day and something changing, maybe Fagan wanted to go in a different direction than what the team was planning on going. They decided that was detrimental to their plan or something and wanted to move on from that.
No chance. Absolutely. I promise you, I know Peter Fagan. There is no chance that dude wants to move Giannis. There's no chance. Because as we've talked about a million times, whoever trades Giannis, it's going to be on their tombstone when they die. Traded Giannis. Joe, whoever traded Giannis. Like, that's it. That's your legacy. Unless you find a superhuman that does what he does and you win another championship, that's how you're going to be remembered. John Hammond will have drafted Giannis. That's his legacy. I don't care what happened with the Orlando Magic. I don't care what happened before Giannis. I don't care that he was with the Pistons when they won a title. Nobody will care about that. All they'll care about is that John Hammond drafted Giannis. That's it. Whoever the next person is that walks him out that door with a box, you're done. It's all done. And that's why I say, I wouldn't want to be in there. That's why when Peter Fagan walked away, I was like, oh, boy, red flags everywhere on this one. Something bad's about to go down, and he's getting out of Dodge because he doesn't want his name attached to it. That's how I read it. Now, I don't know if that's the case or not. No clue. But I do know this. There is 0.0 chance that Peter Fagan or John Horst would want to trade Giannis at this point because they both know the ramifications that come with that, whether they like him or they don't like him. You don't trade Michael Jordan. You don't trade LeBron James. You don't trade these dudes. Like, that's not a thing. And think about the people trading Kevin Durant and all this other nonsense. Like, are you kidding? You're nuts. You're never going to get fair value in return in a trade for Kevin Durant. You're never going to get fair value in return for Giannis. I don't care what names you want to put out there. It's not going to be a fair return.
Well, and especially when Giannis is saying he wants to be here instead.
Yes,
there's no reason to go out and do that. And I get that, but at the same time, I feel like there had to have been conversations from some people up at the top of the Bucks organization about potentially doing that. And I'm not saying it's 100% Peter Fagan, but again, that whole situation that happened at the beginning of the week leads that there was some kind of rift between him and the front office at some point. If the front office is the one that's planning on looking and getting players to help Giannis, then that suggests he's on some other opinion than what that they were thinking.
Here later on. But as you said, things change every day, just making sure it could have happened at breakfast today. He's like, right. So just because I like my eggs scrambled today, I don't have the opportunity to eat my eggs sunny side up tomorrow. We're human, right? So it's the same thing in basketball. But again, in my nature, I will never. That's not who I am. Then he says, can this team figure it out? And Giannis says, well, that's a different conversation. So it shows you where his faith is on this roster. That I don't even care about because I agree with him. It's going to be tough. So again, we'll see. To me, it's great news. I've been begging and pleading for him to say this, and he finally did it. Good job, Sam Amick. Amen. Everybody get off his back until further notice. Now, again, later something comes out that agents are asking to be traded and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, then we go open this back up and go, okay, man, you said you didn't want out. Your agents, according to reports, are asking for a trade. True or false? Did they ask for a trade? And if he goes, yeah, but I didn't ask for a trade, I can't control what they do, then we're done. Then we're officially done forever.
What do you think made him decide that this was the time to finally say this? And
I don't know.
2 months ago, not last
Maybe
week.
he likes Sam. I don't know.
You think just like this, the one-on-one atmosphere of after a loss
think
to
about
a good team right now.
So this would be a follow-up, right? Giannis, how many times has Shams Charania showed up at a game trying to do a long-form one-on-one with you? How many times has whoever shown up to do this? Maybe Shams has, and he's refused them and said, I'm not talking to that guy, right? Mm-hmm. We know Chris Haynes and him are tight, apparently, because of the relationship with his girl and Chris Haynes or whatever, being a cousin or whatever. So we know they've texted and stuff. But again, long form, sit down, have a long conversation. That was a long interview. Mm-hmm. I don't know how long that took, but that took a time. And his family was there waiting, as you read this, it appears, while they were doing this whole thing. I just very, very happy that it came out. Very, very happy that Emmett got him to finally say what I've been asking for him to say. And that is great stuff. It's amazing because now we don't have to talk about this for the rest of the year. Thank goodness. Coming up next, Mike Golic, Sr., Westwood One Sports NFL analyst. He's on the call for the Packers and Bears coming up on Saturday night. I had a chance to talk to him about an hour ago. We'll play that back for you coming up next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, being joined now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. He is Mike Golic Sr., Westwood One Sports NFL analyst. He'll be on the call for the Packers and Bears Game 3 coming up this weekend. And, of course, you can also check him out on FanDuel Sports Network weekday afternoons from 2 until 4 o'clock. Mike, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. Looking forward to some playoffs.
I'm looking forward to it, too. I first got to ask you this. You're a senior. You obviously have the junior because you guys do the TV show together. I am the fourth in my family, and it ends there because my girl refused to name the next one the fifth because of what I do for a living and said that's unfair to him. You can't do that. So it ends there at 4. How much conversation was there before you named him your name?
My wife and I were pretty set on it. Pretty set on having a junior. I didn't know what difficulties it would cause us being in the same business now.
Right.
Having to go by senior and junior, but we were pretty set on that with the first boy that we would have.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. Okay, now we get that out of the way. Let's talk about this Packer-Bears game coming up on, again, Saturday night primetime at Soldier Field. The last time they saw each other, wind played a factor for sure, and they're saying this game is probably going to be somewhere in that same area with a potential chance for snow, too. You start talking about bad element games. Who does that favor more in this one between the Packers and Bears?
Well, I mean, bad weather always favors a better running team. And the Bears are a really good running team. I think they're third in the NFL, over 144 yards. So anytime you can keep the ball on the ground and control the clock in bad weather, I think that's an advantage. So certainly a team with a good defense, but basically a good running game if they can get any kind of running game going. Because as a defensive player, you don't know where the play is going. And I played in a lot of bad weather as a defensive player, and you definitely have to be careful of your footing.
Is the advantage in that when you start talking about bad footing, the offensive line or the defensive line? We always hear wide receiver versus cornerback. The wide receiver has the advantage in that one. What about on the line?
Oh, it's the offensive line because again they know where they're going, so they can start to get the step on you, and it can just magnify in bad weather because you're basically a beat behind if you don't get off on the snap right away. They know the snap count, you don't, so that gives them a natural jump. And in bad weather, that can be magnified. So definitely the O-line and a running attack is an advantage.
Time with Mike Golic Sr. here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Obviously, Packer fans want more than just getting into the playoffs. Josh Jacobs, Packers running back, said that we're a spoiled organization and fan base because they always go to the playoffs, which I get. Yeah. I've been trying to hammer home as much as I can that when you have as many injuries as the Packers have right now, a stud tight end in Tucker Kraft, your best pass rusher in Micah Parsons, Devontae Wyatt really hurts their ability to stop the run on the defensive line. Elton Jenkins, who maybe didn't play well, but still was your starting center. He's gone. Wide receiver depth, you're down to about 4 guys, and that's it because you've lost all the depth behind that to injuries. Is it reasonable to say, hey, look, if this doesn't go right, you have to point to injuries as far as what went wrong with the Packers?
Well, players will never use it as an excuse. That's the thing. If you're fielding a team and you're out there in the playoffs, then as a player and a coaching staff, there are no excuses. You play with who you have, and you plan on winning with who you have. Now, when all is said and done, you take a breath. If the season ends for them, you can look back and say, well, certainly some injuries cost us, but everybody has injuries, some certainly more than others. And you're right, losing a tight end and Tucker Kraft, you lost him a while ago. Losing Micah Parsons, obviously not all that long ago. You lost, the Packers have lost their last 4 games, haven't gotten to the passer a whole lot. You certainly can kind of see how it's changed. I mean, Jeff Hafley, the D coordinator, has to kind of scheme pressure a little more than just letting 4 go when you had Micah Parsons to get pressure. But again, you don't. If you feel the team and you're on the field, nobody feels sorry for you, and there's no excuses.
This might seem crazy, and I'm sure it probably will seem crazy to you, but going against Caleb Williams, I almost feel like you don't necessarily have to have all kinds of crazy pressure, because it feels like anytime he's out of that pocket running around with his hair on fire, that's when he comes up with the big plays and makes something happen, whether it would be with his legs or with his arm. The big thing for the Packers has to be to stop that run if they're going to win this game, and if Caleb Williams beats you sitting in the pocket, so be it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing about pressures is when you're getting pressure, you don't want to let the quarterback escape. I see more times this year quarterback escaping, especially to the right for a right-handed quarterback, which is gold for a quarterback to extend the play, whether it's with his legs or with his arms. But no doubt Green Bay's number one job is to stop the run. I mean, Caleb Williams has the worst completion percentage of qualified quarterbacks in the league. And his way of making big plays isn't a scramble, but that doesn't mean you don't want to get a rush on him. You want to get a disciplined rush on him. You want to keep him in the pocket and squeeze it, and don't let him go anywhere when they have to pass. But certainly stopping the run is without question the number one thing.
Micah Parsons, when he was healthy earlier in the year, Rashawn Gary benefited greatly. He had like 7.5 sacks right there in the first half of the year. And then a couple of weeks leading up to Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary hadn't racked up a sack in several weeks. And now with Micah Parsons out, the same thing comes into play here. And if, as you said earlier, you're going to have to scheme it up, what has happened, in your opinion, to Rashawn Gary, why he's not able to get home as much as he was earlier in the year?
Well, I mean, he hasn't really been a double-digit sack guy through his career, has he?
Nope, never.
So there wasn't the expectation that was going to happen. So with Micah Parsons, eating up double teams, there was a thought that Rashawn Gary could do that.
Yep.
Now Micah's gone, and you're back to you have to have your guys win one-on-one battles, and Green Bay struggles with winning a higher percentage of one-on-one battles. Micah Parsons didn't. He had the pressures. He had the quarterback hits. He had the double teams. You take that away, and now all of a sudden the O-line, quite honestly, when they're not looking at and seeing number one across from them, knowing they're going to slide to number one, knowing that he affects the game plan, it becomes a little more stable.
The other issue that Packers have had, and we go back to that run, is that defensive tackle position. Since Devontae White went out, they brought in Riley from the Giants practice squad, and he did well for a couple of games, and then he went out, and now he is gone too. How do you go about stopping this Bears run game if you're Jeff Hafley going into this one, knowing you struggle up front doing that with just 4?
Well, I mean, listen, D tackles and something that I was. Your job is to obviously make plays at the line of scrimmage or eat up, with a combo block when center and guard try and block you, the D tackle, and the linebacker. Don't let the lineman off on the linebacker. Let the linebacker stay clean to make a play. Junk it up in the middle. Don't get blown off the ball. Play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Make the running back go east and west. You don't necessarily have to make the tackle as an interior D lineman to affect the play. You can affect the play without it showing up in the box score. Obviously, your teammates know that. But what you can't do, and really what no defender can do, but especially on the interior when a run is between the tackles, is you can't trade one for one. You can't let a guard block you and not get off the block and be part of the play or part of the tackle or affect the running back moving at all. It's called trading one for one. You trade one for one, the offense wins almost every time.
Time with Mike Golic Sr., Westwood One NFL sports analyst, will be on the call for the Packers and Bears coming up this weekend. Also, of course, Golic and Golic, which you can hear on FanDuel Sports Network Wisconsin from 2 to 4 p.m., right while we're doing this show as well. We talk about Jordan Love at quarterback. There's kind of a mixed review, I think, from this Packers fan base on him. There are some that say, yeah, they paid him all of this money, but is he really worth it? When we start talking about big games and winning in playoffs and going to a Super Bowl, can he still be that guy? Then there are others that are fully on board with Jordan Love and think they made the right decision. From what you've seen out of Jordan Love now here in year 3 as a starter, what do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, we're at the point with the quarterback that when you have to make a decision to pay, the thought is, do you pay or where do you go? Who are you getting that's going to be better? And that was Green Bay's thought. Who are we going to get? We like what Jordan Love is doing, especially against the Bears. He's 4-2 against the Bears,
Yep.
but he's actually 4-0 when he finishes the game twice, including this year. He got hurt during a game and they lost both those games, but the time he finished against the Bears, he's 4-0. I like Jordan Love. And once you get the big money, you are then judged on taking this team deep into the playoffs, especially when you followed Aaron Rodgers, who followed Brett Favre, of which, you have Super Bowl quarterbacks. By the way, Brett Favre, and I'm sure this has been talked about, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Bart Starr, all 27 when they won a championship, and Jordan Love 27. But yeah, I was all on board with them keeping Love, paying him what a quarterback gets paid. It's market value. You can sit there and say overpaid, underpaid, but it's market value to lead this team. So yeah, I am all on board with Jordan Love without question.
How much has Caleb Williams improved in your mind, and in what aspects would you say he's improved?
Well, I think one of the biggest places he's improved is getting rid of the ball. I mean, last year, now the offensive line was part of it as well.
Yeah.
He was sacked 68 times. That was O-line, and that was Caleb Williams. I mean, just holding on to the ball too long, running backwards too much. And so he contributed to that 68 sacks. Now they've given up 24. And what helped there is they have only one returning starter, Darnell Wright, on the O-line. You really redid the interior guard, center, and guard with Tooney, Dahlman, and Jackson. And that's been a huge benefit both in the run and pass protection up the gut, because that's where quarterbacks hate pressure the most, is straight up the gut. But Caleb which is a natural progression. And certainly with Ben Johnson, he makes quicker reads. He gets rid of the ball quicker. He doesn't hold on to it. He doesn't have as much happy feet, makes great plays outside the pocket as we've seen. But he's maturing as a quarterback and getting rid of the ball quicker than he did last year.
How much is experience a deal in this game? I mean, Ben Johnson obviously has been in playoff games as a coordinator, never as a head coach. Caleb Williams going into his first game. LaFleur's been in a bunch of playoff games as a head coach. Love has obviously been in playoffs game each year as a starting quarterback for the Packers. Does that help lean the scale one way or the other?
Well, what it does is not so much for the start of the game. I mean, you're preparing like it's another week. But during the game, when it gets to pressure moments, there's the reality, kind of like the game I called last week, Baltimore-Pittsburgh. The reality, one team was going on to the playoffs and the other team was going home. So how do teams handle pressure as the game goes on, knowing you win, you move on, you lose. The next day, there's the ultimate stoppage of your cleaning out your locker for the off season. So how do people deal with that pressure, knowing there's no next week, there's no, we'll make up for it next week. It's you lose and you go home. So how does a player individually handle the pressure of the game as it goes on?
Okay, Mike Golic Sr., you tell me, prediction time, who you got?
Oh, I can't call it. I'm calling the game.
Oh, nobody will hear it. Just you and me. Nobody else will know what you said. It'll be fine.
No can do. No can do. Got to stay unbiased.
I tried. Mike Golic Sr., of course, Westwood One Sports NFL analyst, does a great job. Hear him on the Packers and Bears game this weekend. And, of course, Golic and Golic on FanDuel Sports Wisconsin from 2 to 4 during the week. Thanks so much for coming on, Mike. Appreciate it.
You got it. No problem.
There is Mike Golic Sr. joining us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. C. Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Thanks to Mike Golic Sr., Westwood One Sports NFL analyst. He'll be on the call for Packers and Bears. I had a chance to talk to him earlier today. Played that back for you there in the last segment. That was a good time. Hey, if you're looking for some more good times, how about tomorrow? Green Bay and Chicago, and a loser goes home game is coming up on Saturday night. Coming out tomorrow in West Allis at Natty Oaks Pub and Eatery on National Avenue from noon until 6 p.m. The Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis will be there. This show, Wisconsin Sports Daily, will be there, and a special playoff preview show with Tommy Wirtz broadcasting live from 5 until 6. So again, from noon until 6 tomorrow at Natty Oaks in West Allis on National Avenue. We'll be broadcasting all three of those shows right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So today we were at Margaritas in Green Bay. Tomorrow, southeastern Wisconsin in West Allis. We'd love to see y'all out there. Come by, hang out, and talk some sports. Talk whatever you'd like to talk. Commercial breaks. Love to see y'all stop on by. I want to talk about something that we haven't talked about. And I know you guys are late to the party. Everybody else has talked about it already. Okay, it's fair. But Charlie and I haven't talked about it. So I would like to talk about with Charlie. If y'all want to hop aboard, you obviously can as well. But this Packer-Bear game isn't on network TV. And seemingly everybody is mad about the fact that it's not on network TV, that it's on Amazon Prime. That pretty much, if you're not in Milwaukee or Green Bay, you're screwed because you're going to have to buy the Amazon Prime subscription. And Charlie wrote out the question, does this game deserve to not be behind a paywall? Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Let me help everybody out with something that's going to occur in the future. The Super Bowl is going to be behind a paywall eventually. Somebody is going to pony up a stupid amount of money just to have the Super Bowl. That'll be the only game they get all year. It'll be the Super Bowl. They'll ante up like $500 million for one game. It'll be for 4 years, $2 billion for one game. And then everybody else will pony up the money for the rest of the season. But this one streaming service will end up getting the Super Bowl. And then everybody that wants to watch the Super Bowl will have to have a subscription to said service in order to watch the Super Bowl. Because the halftime show, all the spots and what they cost, and then you'll get a much truer indication of how many people truly do watch the Super Bowl versus the rating system they have set up for TV, which is more of an estimate than anything. That is where I think this is headed. And let me be the first to tell you, I'm not paying for a subscription to watch the Super Bowl. And I know I do this for a job. But if the Packers are in the Super Bowl, then it would be the same thing where the local markets would get it. If the Packers aren't in the Super Bowl, I simply am not paying $20 or whatever it is in order to watch it. I remember growing up, and if you wanted to see Mike Tyson fight it out in a championship match against Buster Douglas or Spinks or whoever it was, you had to pay. And my buddy's dad always paid, and I would always go over by my buddy's house and watch the fights over there, including that Buster Douglas shock the world fight that happened. Or back in the day, WWF had pay-per-views, right? So if you wanted to watch WrestleMania, it was $40 or $50 or whatever it was back in the day. Same thing, same buddy, same dad. I'll buy it and you can come on over here and watch it. Okay, sounds good. So I always get to go over there and watch the wrestling pay-per-views. So that really isn't a thing per se anymore. Now we've turned our way of using these apps in order to watch anything that you may want to watch going forward. I just don't see how the Super Bowl doesn't eventually get blocked. I don't think this has anything to do with how good the matchup is as much as it does them helping Amazon out because they want to continue to expand that relationship and continue to get more money from them when their next deal is up. That's what this is. They see them as a cash cow that can continue to give them a ton of money. They may not see the networks, who probably aren't in the same position, as financially as stable maybe as some of these other ones that are willing to dole out stupid amounts of money. They're all going to pay a lot of money, but these apps, especially Amazon, are really going to be willing to go over the top to get what they want, Charlie. And this, I'm sure, is one of the bones that are thrown to them to keep them happy.
This is the best game of the playoffs. Everything says that's what it's going to be. they have one of the lowest over-unders, which says that it's going to be a close game potentially in this one. You look at the ticket price of this game too. The average ticket price is the highest of any game.
440 I saw yesterday.
It's crazy, man.
Like $300 more.
They're not just throwing them a bone, they're throwing them a T-bone steak out there, dude. This is like the best game possible. If they really wanted to, they could have given them Houston and Pittsburgh, but instead they gave that to ESPN and ABC, which is really strange to me because it feels like they're trying to tell ESPN and ABC, step your game up and maybe we'll give you a better game in this situation. This is all just really weird. Again, for a game that is going to be the best one out of all these bunches, it just feels wrong that they're, I guess, and I know I shouldn't expect more from a giant company like the NFL, but it feels wrong that they're not valuing the fans here in this situation. And a game that I think a majority of people would rather watch over Carolina versus Los Angeles or over even Buffalo and Jacksonville in the situation. You know, both those teams have looked really good. This is the game to watch, and it's sitting in Amazon Prime where half the people that probably would have watched it in the first place are now not going to watch it. A certain number of bars probably will not be able to air this game on their TVs so it'll just be a random college basketball game that night.
Why?
Because maybe they don't want to pay for the Amazon Prime. They just don't want to go out there and do that. The owner doesn't want to do that, especially if it's a private place. It's his only spot. That's not worth the time and the money when there's going to be tons of other NFL games on in the future. They'll just make money a different night on those. This is not a situation where I think the NFL really truly wins. Only Amazon Prime wins.
I Googled what is the most amount of people to watch an NFL game via stream or whatever. The Google AI overview said the most people to stream an NFL game reached record-breaking heights in late 24, early 25, with Netflix's Christmas Day games drawing nearly 65 million U.S. viewers, including peaks over 27 million for the Ravens-Texans game, while earlier the Peacock-exclusive Chiefs-Dolphins playoff game hit 23 million viewers and 27.6 million total. The Netflix Christmas, so those are two combined totaled $65 million at that. This is what I'm saying. If you're telling me, if I'm Amazon Prime, because now they're going to test it, right? I'm pretty sure they're looking at this going, Packers, Bears, I'm going to beat 30 million on this one game. That has to be the thought process. How high can we get this for Packers, Bears? Can we get to 40 million? Right? And if we can, my gosh, what does a Super Bowl look like? You're going to be over 100 million people probably. And then how does that affect rates that you're charging at that point?
But if they don't, what happens then? What's the decision of the NFL?
It could be a huge backfire in the NFL. If the numbers aren't what they've been saying the numbers have been for a long period of time, could be egg all over their face. If the numbers are more than they thought, then it's going to be a payday bonanza because then everybody is going to end up raising rates to charge for those deals, for those commercials inside that game.
But they already keep continuously raising the rates. This is going to be something where I think they are going to start alienating a big chunk of the fan base that just can't afford to watch the games anymore.
Charlie, I hate to break it to you, buddy. These people have never cared about us.
I know they haven't, but when the money stops flowing in, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever cared, nor will they ever care. Coming up next, Josh Jacobs called us spoiled. Yeah, that's right. The Packers running back, not somebody from Chicago. Your running back said we're spoiled. Let's talk about that next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen, and you.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is hour number 2 as we broadcast live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Charlie using over there, other side of the glass, just seeing coming across. And this has happened earlier today. Dolphins firing head coach Mike McDaniel. Not too surprising because they have been linked to Jim Harbaugh. There is all this talk. Harbaugh wants to bring his buddy, who's the assistant GM with the Chargers, with him. So that would make sense that then McDaniel would be out on this deal in order to convince Harbaugh to come in. And the other part of this, too, is, as we've talked about, most GMs don't want to be forced to have a lame duck coach to have to deal with when they get in. If you look at the Milwaukee Brewers, when David Stearns took over, they forced him to keep the trader, Greg Counsell, on for at least 1 year. And then Mark was like, hey, if this doesn't work after a year, you can go get who you want. I just want to give it a year and then see what happens. It worked out. And it was wonderful. They never got to the World Series, but they were highly successful together. So it makes sense that you would move on from McDaniel. Now you have an offensive play caller now that is out there on the open market for another team to go get. It will be interesting to see how quickly teams move to try to get Mike McDaniel in as a head coach, considering like Raheem Morris got a head coaching interview with the Titans, and he was awful in Atlanta. So I would think McDaniel will quickly get interviews lined up to be a head coach. However, if that were not to happen and he were not to get a head coaching job, I will give you whatever you want. He, in Green Bay with LaFleur, he takes over play calling. LaFleur becomes the leader of men or whatever. I'm fine with that. And Stanovich, it's been real. But that, to me, makes a lot of sense for those of you that don't want LaFleur calling plays anymore. McDaniel's all about running the football, all about explosive plays, all of that. You pair him with Jordan Love, who is tons better than Tua, and give him that opportunity. I'd take McDaniel every day of the week over Stanovich and give him play calling duties and take some heat off LaFleur.
I guess. I don't know. I don't want to have Matt LaFleur on my coaching staff if he's not going to be calling plays as the head coach.
Right.
I don't like that. Just doesn't seem like the role that he fits in ever.
I mean, that was like Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy gave up play calling to Tom Clements per Rodgers, I believe is how that went. And then after about 4 games, McCarthy's like, yeah, y'all stink at this. I'm taking it back
keyword
over.
Was per Rodgers. He doesn't have a Rodgers telling him to do that right now.
No, not at all.
And I just feel like that Matt LaFleur, the value that he brings to that head coach position is how creative he can be in that play calling. And when he needs to take control of the play calling, he usually is right in those situations. And I trust him to do that. And if he's not doing that, the other things that you look at for a head coach, I don't know if I trust him as much to do that.
I don't want this dude in Detroit with Dan Campbell. I'll tell you that much. I don't want him running that Lions offense with all those weapons. I don't want him anywhere close to that. But thank you.
I think you were right when you said that other teams are going to be calling him for that head coaching job. Brought Raheem Morris.
Well, my point is, if he doesn't get a head coaching job,
he's going to.
If he doesn't, then the next opportunity would either be he sits out and doesn't do anything and waits for the next cycle next year to become a head coach and doesn't want to take a step back because he's going to get paid anyhow. Or he's like, no, I want to stay in the game. I don't want to get out, so I'll go be a coordinator somewhere for a year and then go get a head coaching job after that. I don't know which decision he would make, but I love the idea of McDaniel as a play caller for Jordan Love. I'm good with that if that's something they want to do. I don't know if I want McDaniel as a head coach over Matt LaFleur. That I would say no to. I think I would still rather have LaFleur. That's just me. Okay, so that's not the topic. It just I got sidetracked looking at the TV in the studio, and then that's what happens. Check this out from Josh Jacobs. Packers running back, don't play this week. Not on the injury report, right? With that knee, finally getting back to being the healthiest he's been all season. and talked about the Packers, the playoffs, and all that.
This organization, I feel like, it's been spoiled for so long. A lot of people that's been here, they so used to going to the playoffs and having at least a chance that they don't really. You kind of like get numb to the feeling of this opportunity, and me not being able to do that. And I just reiterated to the guys, man, like these is the moments that we dreamed of our whole life since we was little kid, wanted to play in these type of situations. The reason why we worked as hard as we did, sacrifice whatever to be in these situations, to have a chance to play in the Super Bowl, which a lot of people don't get to do at all in their career. So we know that, this opportunity is unique and we don't want to take it for granted.
I agree. You don't want to take it for granted. The spoiled thing is interesting. He's talking about people in the organization, right? So you would assume he is talking about players that have been on that team for a few minutes, like Rashawn Gary. People maybe in the front office, on the coaching staff that have been there with LaFleur, like Stenovich. They go to the playoffs every year, and you just expect it. Like, okay, we're going to go to the playoffs, and then the season begins, and that's when the pressure is on, and that's when they lose. But that is probably very, very well true. I want to turn this on Packer fans, if you do not mind, and maybe you do. Should we as Packer fans be far more appreciative of Green Bay's continued success than we are? Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Should we be more appreciative than we are? For me, I will tell you that back in the day in my 20s, I was definitely not appreciative of anything. You didn't go to the Super Bowl, you failed. Simple. Not that hard. That's just what it was. To which I was told by everybody that I worked with back in the day, the former players, they always would tell me, you're out of your damn mind. Do you have any idea of how hard it is to win a Super Bowl? Do you have any idea of how hard it is to go to the playoffs every freaking year, regardless of who the quarterback is, to have everything go right time and time and time and time again? We're not talking like a 3-year run or a 5-year run. We're on a 30-year run, folks. The Bears are hoping for a 2-year run, back-to-back seasons right now. Do this year, and then next year, see if you can do it again without falling back off the other side of it. Packers been doing it for 30 years. So, from that perspective, when you bring up the names of Matt LaFleur and so forth, what happens? You can't win in the playoffs. They're not winning divisions. It's not good enough. Okay. Well, a majority of teams in the National Football League would be ecstatic with being in the playoffs 3 straight years, regardless of what seed they were, regardless of who won the division or not. A majority would be fine with it, right? The Kansas City Chiefs, no. Okay, no, they're not going to be fine with being in the playoffs or being in the playoffs 3 straight years as a 7 seed. No, that fan base would be livid at Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Guaranteed they'd be mad. Buffalo, Josh Allen, that fan base probably would be mad too if they were only the 7 seed 3 years in a row. They expect to go every year because they have Josh Allen. Who else? Who else is in that boat where they're mad that they made the playoffs 3 years in a row and are only a 7 seed? Is there anybody else that belongs there? Jalen Hurts in Philly, maybe? Right? Because they've been to the Super Bowl and all that.
I would say the Rams, when they have healthy seasons, usually should be pretty mad, but they've had a lot of injury-riddled seasons past couple years.
So even them, 3 years in a row is a big deal. So I say, if you take a step back and really think about this, it really should be, yes, we always want more. Right? I'm not shaming anybody because you want more, because you want to go back and see your favorite team win a Super Bowl. I get it. I'm the same person who talked down on that whole Packers run of how in the world do you have like 25 years of back-to-back Hall of Famers and only win 2 Super Bowls in 25 years? Like, how does that happen? And then, again, players, you don't know how hard it is. You're right. I don't. I'm saying from a fan perspective, it feels like in 25 years of Hall of Fame quarterback play and a league that is run by Hall of Fame quarterbacks that win Super Bowls, you should have had more than 2 damn rings between the two of you. Like, To me, that's kind of disappointing that that's how this whole thing played out. And now you've got a guy that Jordan Love, I don't know if he's going to be a Hall of Famer. You may be listening right now and going, Sparky, I know he's not going to be a Hall of Famer. People yelling at me on the radio. Okay. But I don't know that he is or that he isn't. This is year 3 as a starter. He's going to play, 10 years at least? A long way to go before we get to have the conversation of, is he a Hall of Famer or is he not a Hall of Famer? I just, to answer the question, should we as Packer fans be more appreciative of Green Bay's continued success? The answer is hell yes, we should be. Nicolay Law Talk text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You can also stream us live on YouTube and on X at WI Sports Radio. Check out the website. You can stream us live there too, and check out all of our podcasts, all of our interviews, wisportsradio.com. We got a Bears fan over there in the Dugout YouTube chat, Randy. What has Randy got to say?
Randy starts with 3 sacks, 3 7 seasons in a row. I wouldn't be appreciative of that. And then he also adds, as a Bears fan, I'm sure hoping you fire LaFleur because of these 7 seeds. LOL.
Yes. Which means he would have been fine with it. Right. But he lets you know he's a Bears fan after making the comment of he would not be appreciative of that at all. See, again, most of these fan bases would be like, man, I would kill. What do you think Cleveland Browns fans would do to be in the playoffs 3 straight years? They've had two winning seasons. Two winning seasons since 2012 under Jimmy Haslam. Prior to that, I think they had 2 winning seasons in the previous decade or something like that. So they've had 4 winning seasons in the last 30 years. You've got 3 Super Bowl appearances and 2 rings in the same amount of time. They would throw a parade if a coach got into the playoffs 3 years in a row.
The NFL gave Kevin Stefanski 2 Coach of the Year awards because he dragged those teams to the playoffs a couple of times. The NFL recognized how crazy that was that he was able to do that and gave him awards for it, man. I mean, any fan base should be happy to go to the playoffs. And I get it. The 7 seeds, yeah, whatever. There weren't 7 seeds 5 years ago, blah, 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 whatever. I don't care. They're in the playoffs now. That is something to be happy about. There's plenty of franchises, like we mentioned before, the Chicago Bears, where their fans are lucky to even see them have a 500 season at this point. And now they're having a year like this, and they're loving it. And they're going to talk about this season for years to come because there's chances are they're going to go back down to where they are just based on where we've seen. That's how Bears fans think. Packers fans, you should be happy with what you're seeing right now. Yes, I know you have different standards and higher standards, but at some point there has to be a baseline for where your standards start. And I think a playoff caliber team should be that baseline.
Yes, Charlie using Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. And again, this is not that hard to understand what we're talking about here. The Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250. From the 414, it isn't good enough to limit in the playoffs year after year for Green Bay. The Yankees and Dodgers have the same sort of expectations year over year, albeit in the MLB. Correct. Different league. And you name 2 teams in Major League Baseball. I'm sorry, with all due respect, you can't really compare, in my mind at least, the Dodgers to anybody in the National Football League right now because they're simply just going to outspend everybody. And they deserve credit for a great farm system for sure, right? That has nothing to do with money. But when you can outspend everybody and build your rotation for all studs and sign the best players in baseball and not care about the financial aspects of it, and nobody in the National Football League can do that, I don't think you can make that same comparison.
Well, and if we're being honest, no, the Yankees don't have the same expectations because they just went to their first World Series in forever 2 years ago. They lost it to the Dodgers, and then last year got outplayed by 3 other teams in their division, and nobody batted an eye. Everybody was just like, oh, the Yankees will be fine again next year. We'll have fun with that next season. It's not the same. The Dodgers are the same way. Before this run that they're on now in the one World Series they won in 2020, before that, nobody was really batting an eye when they didn't go and win a World Series at this point. Packers fans sometimes just freak out over nothing, over a season that ended up better than probably it should have with all the injuries that you're having right now. If they don't go and win a Super Bowl, it's not the end of the world. They still have time. This quarterback, Jordan Love, will have time to go and win a Super Bowl. This head coach, Matt LaFleur, will have time to go and win a Super Bowl because the Packers are just going to give them that time. That's what they've done in the past. That's what you've seen them have over and over success with is being honorable to their players and giving them those chances to make themselves these stars. And that's what you should be celebrating and being happy about, is that they go out and run an organization right. And some of these other organizations in the league don't have that. And yeah, it's not a Super Bowl every year, but you're seeing consistent success brought to the table for you as a fan base.
It's interesting. So I brought up the New York Yankees just to kind of look and see what this is. They missed the playoffs. They were 19 games out in 2023. They missed the playoffs in 2016. They were 9 out. They missed the playoffs in 2014. They were 12 out. They missed the playoffs in 2013. They were 12 out there as well. They've lost in the AL wild card in 25 because again, winner moves on, loser goes home. They lost the wild card in 2021 as well. Now, if we go look at the Green Bay Packers, so that is 2013 forward. They missed the playoffs 4 years in that time stretch since 2013, right? Since 2013, the Green Bay Packers going right now have lost. They have missed the playoffs 3 times, 17 and 18 with McCarthy, and then 22 with LaFleur, where they should have beat the Lions and got trounced. But those are the only times that they've missed. In the LaFleur era, he's only missed the playoffs 1 time. He's been to 2 conference championships, 2 divisional rounds, and then lost in the wild card round. He's missed the playoffs once.
They're doing pretty good.
That's pretty damn good to me.
Doing pretty good.
Like I don't, and again, fire Matt LaFleur. He's horrible. Come on, man. Like I'm sorry, man. I struggle with all of this. And then you're doing it with a quarterback that hadn't done anything in Jordan Love after you move on from the Hall of Fame quarterback, and you've been in the playoffs every year with him.
And he's gotten better every year.
How many other teams go from a Hall of Fame quarterback to the next quarterback and then make it to the playoffs the 3 next years after that, regardless if it's a veteran coming in or whatever?
Can't think of too many. Pittsburgh struggled. New England struggled for a while before they got to Drake May here. No other team really is able to do that.
No, it's just not a thing. Potawatomi Sportsbook, that's a thing. That's where you can go put all your money down on the games coming up. You got college football playoffs tonight, tomorrow. Got the NFL playoffs coming up this weekend and Monday Night Football. You like Monday Night Football playoffs?
It's okay. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of a boring game again. I don't really want to watch that one.
I would have taken that. I would have taken this Packer Bears game Monday night.
Oh, that would have been sick.
That would have been cool. We would have talked about it all day leading up to the game. That would have been awesome. But anyways, so they got that going on. You got the NBA, NHL, all of these different things going on. 2,000 square foot screen, 30 different sporting events at one time. You can watch at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, 2 different levels. Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen, amazing. 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails, all kinds of great food, all day brunch, burgers, wraps, wings, salads, you name it, they got it. And homemade pastries and desserts every day at the Potawatomi Hotel Casino. Check them out today. Go to Potawatomi.com. Reserve your seat today. Do you have to? You don't have to. But when you anticipate them being packed like I am, it's always a good idea to reserve a seat or 2 or a table to make sure you have somewhere to sit. And there is a nominal fee that goes towards it, but that goes towards your food and beverage credit. So really, at the end of the day, it doesn't cost you anything because you're going to eat and drink anyhow when you're at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Take a quick time out to come back on the other side. And I got to talk about what's going on in the world of college football because I had a big revelation watching what's going on with the Badgers and what it compares to the rest of college football. And maybe, just maybe, this new era, this wild west, actually is good for Wisconsin. I'll talk about that next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Welcome in. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Sparky here, Charlie Usen over there. If you didn't hear earlier today, Jordy Nelson, former Packers wide receiver, he'll join the Mason Crosby Show tomorrow at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, Jordy Nelson joins the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis. That show will be out broadcasting live in West Allis tomorrow at Natty Oaks Pub and Eatery on National Avenue from noon until 6 p.m. As the Mason Crosby Show, Wisconsin Sports Daily, this show, and a special playoff preview show with Tommy Wirtz will be broadcasting live on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So again, that's tomorrow, Natty Oaks Pub and Eatery on National Avenue in West Allis. Thanks to Margaritas for hosting us earlier today, 9 to noon. John Kuhn was there. Rami Makloff was there. And then the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis. Thunder was on site at Margaritas in Green Bay. Trevor Thomas stopped by. Andy Herman stopped by. It was a very cool deal. So thanks to Margaritas in Green Bay. Couple blocks right off of Lambeau right there on Lombardi. Stop on by. Great food, great drinks. And again, very, very appreciative for Margaritas for hosting the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network earlier today. What is this here? What does he want to talk about?
Jody in Wausau wants to talk about being appreciative as a Packers fan.
I'm all about that. Jody, you're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. What's up, Jody?
Hey, guys. Thanks for the call.
Sure.
Just wanted to say, I was born in 1974, and so I've seen the other side of what the Packers look like, and it's not very much fun.
Blair Keel, Anthony Dilwig. Yeah.
Yeah. Fine humans, I'm sure, but they did not post results on the football field.
Right.
So, yeah, and I have a lot of Bears fans, and I've seen their misery, and I know people from Minnesota, and I know their misery. I don't want to go back to that. So, yeah, we absolutely need to be more appreciative of the excellence we've been enjoying for all of these years. I do say that I think that the team has improvements they can make, and I hope they keep Matt LaFleur. I think he's a good ball coach. But he's shown over the time with us that he has a flaw, and that flaw is his loyalty to people. And I hope that he can surround himself with better people this next off season. I think the offensive inconsistencies are a symptom of him being spread thin, and he's the offensive coordinator. And if you're the best offensive coordinator on your team and you're the head coach, I see that as a problem, because it doesn't allow him to go where his biggest opportunities lie, where his biggest threats sit and go work on those things. It doesn't allow him to talk to his kickers when his kickers are injured. But that whole, I don't talk to kickers. Yeah. You're the head football coach and your kicker is injured. You better be talking to him, because I think the most important thing a leader of an organization can do, should do, is know its people, know its personnel, because that's how you push the right buttons. That's how you pull the levers. That's how you know when to protect people from themselves. And if you're the one putting in all of the offensive strategy, I just don't think it gives you the time. There's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much.
Okay, but the counter to that can be Mike Holmgren, Super Bowl, Mike McCarthy, Super Bowl, Andy Reid, Super Bowls. I mean, there are guys that have been very successful being the play caller and the head coach.
Sure, there are. And maybe he can be too. We just haven't seen it yet. And I don't know, like the defense improves on when you bring in the third defensive coordinator.
Correct.
Now it's got better. That's not an accident, right? The last offensive coordinator that left is no longer employed in any of the work that he got subsequently after leaving us. I think that proved so. I look at the offensive line, I look at, again, all those inconsistencies. And I think, as somebody that's been the leader of a large organization twice in my career, I know the biggest thing you can do and the biggest mistake you can make is not surrounding yourself with good people. Yep. You have to agree that. Yeah. And so I really like what he does for us. I think he's done an awesome job, playoffs all these years. And have we come up short? Well, sure. I'm sure nobody's more disappointed about that than he is. So what's been in my mind all these weeks listening to you guys on the radio is I hope policy is able to sit down with him, get the contract extended, and also help him see his own blind spots. Correct. And help so that we can get to where we want to get. Just throwing the baby out with the bath, I don't even know what we'd be doing. Who are you going to get better?
Right, Jody, I agree with you. Don't be a stranger, man. That was an excellent call. Appreciate it. Jody in Wausau listening
on 93.9 The Game in Wausau to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Would love to hear from more of you people all over the state. Wausau, Duluth, Superior, Appleton, Green Bay, wherever you are. If you're listening to us, don't be a stranger, especially on this show, because I love talking to you. I mean, text messages are fine. I'll read them. Dugout YouTube chat is being taken over by Bears fans, so I'm watching that pop up on my screen. So more welcome Packer fans in there as well, as you can stream us on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Got another text here as well from the 414. I don't understand how you can downplay the injuries as Packer fans have done. The amount of notable figures that are hurt or have been hurt for a majority of the season is on the level of a 49ers team from years past. It's detrimental to a team. It cannot be downplayed. Agreed. And for the love of God, I do not understand how a majority of this fan base, it feels like, just does not care. Oh, you lost Micah Parsons. No. You lost Psych of Craft. Be better, coach. Yeah. You know Devontae Wyatt? Coach him up better, D-line coach. Figure it out. Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine are your cornerbacks, coach? Well, are your cornerbacks? Well, coach, if you can't figure it out, we'll find somebody else that'll make them better. I mean, there's only so much these guys can do, man. They can't give them more talent that they have. They can't put them in better situations than they do. And on the defensive side of the ball, sometimes they're not even in the situation they're supposed to be in. They're not in the right spot, and they're in the wrong spot. Now you can say, well, that's on Halfley and the coaching staff for not getting them prepared enough for the game and for them being out of position. Sure. Or it's the knucklehead wearing the helmet with the brain inside of his head, not doing the right thing because he scrambled upstairs when the game's going on and not paying attention.
Well, not just a knucklehead, a grown adult who's been doing this for a really long time. No matter if he's a rookie or if he's a 10-year vet, they've been playing football for a really long time. Should be a little better in those situations.
Jody and Wausau, I want to emphasize something else that he said because I think it was an absolutely great point. That is this. Ed Policy's job, when you are president of this team without an owner, so you're the pseudo owner at this point, you go to the owners' meetings, you represent the Packers and all of that. As far as Brian Gutekunst goes and Matt LaFleur, the way this system is set up, where everybody reports to policy, Jody is right. His job is to find the weak spots and then essentially, at the end of the season, suggest how they fix the weak spots or point out that there are weak spots to those that may not think there are weak spots. So his job is to sit down Brian Gutekunst and go, hey, man, look, I know you've been drafting all these guys on defense and this and that and other thing, but this is what I'm kind of noticing as a pattern for the guys you're drafting. And just if you disagree, tell me, but this is what I'm seeing and lay it out. And then let him come back and forth with you. And then with Matt LaFleur, I'm noticing these same patterns happening with you guys in these situations. How do you think that gets corrected? What is the next move? And I brought this up the other day, are these wide receivers developing to the level they should be in years 3 and 4? Have they all gotten better? And yes, Christian Watson has. Fine. The rest of them? Have the rest of them gotten significantly better? Where you're like, boy, oh boy, Romeo Dobbs 100 times better than he was his first year. Boy, oh boy, Jaden Reed's really taken a big step since he got to Green Bay 3 years ago. Are Packer fans saying that, watching the wide receiving core? Like, that is the points that I think you can bring up if you're Ed Policy and if you're keeping Matt LaFleur, and ask for answers and figure out solutions and work together to get it done. You don't have to be a dictator of this is what we're doing. We're hiring this guy. I don't care if you want him or not. And you're firing that guy. And we're bringing this guy in that I know. That's not the way to do it. I don't believe in that way. Some people do. I'm not necessarily a big fan of it.
Unless it's a guy that you're bringing in that can immediately change the culture. So the Chicago Bears knew for 2 years that they were bringing in Ben Johnson. Like, that wasn't anything they were planning for him. They knew and felt like he was a guy who was able to come in here and make immediate changes for this Bears organization to get him to the point that they are now. Right now for the Green Bay Packers, no, I don't think there's another Ben Johnson out there, and especially not one that is by far head and shoulders better than Matt LaFleur at this point in his career. What he's done so far cannot be understated at keeping this team at at least competitive through a big transition from a Hall of Fame quarterback to a complete unknown really at quarterback outside of what the Packers thought about this guy in Jordan Love. This is a situation where I think you really look at what the Packers options are moving forward here and you say, yeah, you know what? Maybe the wide receivers haven't developed all the way. Maybe we haven't seen the running backs, the backup running backs develop the way that they should in order to replace a Josh Jacobs eventually so that we don't have to keep signing Josh Jacobs. Sure, you can complain about all that. You can look at Jordan Love, who's taking the next step each year. You can look at the offensive line, despite all the injuries, the way they've been able to figure out and patchwork that group to make it a respectable group at this point in the season is really kind of amazing. What Matt LaFleur has done well, I think, outplays the things that haven't worked out 100% because the wide receivers have been able to figure it out at points. The running back room has been able to figure it out at points. What he's done well for this team has led to the success that they're at now.
I got another message there on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line, which is always open for you, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. JB in the 920. I wonder if he went to Margaritas today, if they got to meet him.
He should have.
If I do a show in Green Bay, I want JB in the 920 to come stop by and we can chat. He says, how in the world do people actually believe that Matt LaFleur specifically doesn't talk to kickers? It was a joke. JB, I tend to agree with you. I tend to think it was a joke, too. I also do not believe that you would completely not talk to anybody. Because if that was the case, I would be hot if I was Brian Gutekunst, and I would be hot if I was Ed Policy. But if you go back and if you remember, it felt like they weren't talking to each other with what McManus was saying in the media versus what LaFleur was saying in the media. They were two completely different messages that both of them were delivering. And McManus was speaking out against LaFleur more so than any other player had to that point in time. So I'm with you, JB. I hope it was a joke. I hope they were talking because if they weren't, that should have been addressed immediately by Gutekunst and policy once they heard that.
I mean, behind every joke, isn't there a little bit of a truth there too at some point? And I think from my personal experience, just at the college level, at the high school level, coaches, yeah, will still talk to the special teams, but not the same kind of conversations at the same lengths they do with other players on the team. Usually it's kind of going up to the kicker and say, hey, you feel good? Let's have a few kicks at this one point in practice. That's about the amount of time the coach talks to a kicker. So, yeah, I think he probably does talk to him. I bet Brandon McManus was probably just frustrated with being a veteran on this team, probably being a leader on this team, especially in the special teams unit, that Matt LaFleur wasn't talking to him more than what he was.
Coming up next, we're going to hear from Charlie's Sounds of the Day, brought to you by Prize Picks, and hopefully we'll have time and I'll be able to create a lineup as well, Prize Picks lineup that we'll share with y'all, and y'all can ride with us if you'd like, go opposite of us if you want. Well, however you choose to do it is completely up to you, but use Sparky as your promo code when you download and play that Prize Picks app. I got to tell you about my friends over there at Habish and Rotier. Tomorrow, we have a brand new segment on this show. We're going to see how it goes, called Pleading the Fifth. So tomorrow and every Friday going forward, we're going to do it at 4:20 on Fridays, right? Plead the Fifth Fridays, brought to you by Habish and Rotier. So what we're going to do is we are going to ask for you all to participate and call out people that you wish would have just shut their mouth and not open their mouth. And just not spoke on a topic or not spoke about somebody else or whatever. So, like, for instance, when somebody asked Shams Charania about
I can find lots of Stephen A. Smith clips.
Absolutely, right.
Coward.
Right.
Yeah.
So when Charania talks about, when somebody asks Charania on ESPN, what are you hearing about Giannis? Just plead the fifth, dude. Just shut up and plead the fifth, right? So we're going to do that every Friday at 4:20. So once a week we'll do it. So you'll have all week to put together your list of things or people that you want to plead the fifth. And if you really want to get ambitious, you could always message Charlie, whether it be on social media or whether it be on the Nicolay Law Talking text line or on the Dugout YouTube chat ahead of time and be like, hey, I want to call out Colin Cowherd for saying this on Plead the Fifth. So Charlie then can go find it. And then when you call into the show or text in or whatever it is that day, Charlie can play, oh, I got it. Here we go. Boom. And then we can talk about it, right? Pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to that every Friday at 4:20. Plead the Fifth Fridays. And speaking of Habish and Rotier, they won the largest personal injury verdict in the state history. That's amazing. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. What matters is your case. You're the most important case in the world because it's your case. You need to get the best for you. What happens to you matters the most to you and to Habish and Rotier. Put their expertise to work for you. National reputation, hometown service, Habish and Rotier. Coming up next, Charlie Sounds of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. Sparky here, Charlie using other side of the glass. Hope you all are having a good day. JB in the 920 already texting in about Plead the Fifth Fridays coming up tomorrow at 4:20. Brian Windhorst every damn day. This is JB in the 920. It's going to be a fun segment.
He's going to show up occasionally. Yeah,
Plead the Fifth is going to be a fun segment. I'm looking so forward to see that and what all is going to get nominated tomorrow at 4:20. With that being said, let's get to Charlie's segment.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, let's get to it. And we got to get to the fact that this thing is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. High-pressure playoff matchups every weekend, elite hoops action almost every night. The action never stops, and Prize Picks lets you take control. It's daily fantasy, more or less on the stat projection set by Prize Picks. Got to play 2 players or more. You can stack a player up to 3 times in a lineup along with another player to make it all work, which means if Charlie wanted to stack, I don't know, say Caleb Williams, right, with a couple other ones, passing yards, touchdowns, rushing yards, right, more or less, he could do that. And then he could pair him with, say, Jordan Love and go more or less on that as well. Speaking of the one and only Caleb Williams, I need to tell you this. Right now, there is a max discount for Caleb Williams in your Prize Pick app coming up for Saturday night. More than a half a passing yard. Because more than half a passing yard, you get that one right.
Sounds easy to me.
So if you've never, ever played Prize Picks, you only have to play 2. So they're giving you 1. If you get the second one, boom shakalaka, you're feeling good about yourself, right? It's not that hard. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code SPARKY, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That means if you put 5 in, you can play up to $55 worth. So you go $5 a pop. That's 11 lineups. Do it! Use the code SPARKY today on Prize Picks. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. All right, Charlie, sounds of the day. What do you got?
All right, so first up here, earlier in the week, I played a clip from Dan Orlovsky on First Take where he said he thinks this game is going to be close between the Packers and Bears, and if it is close, he thinks that the Chicago Bears are going to win that game. Well, today he went full reversal on his take, and he feels like
a
day later, he feels like the Packers are going to win this game handedly.
I think the Packers win. I think the Packers win handily. I'll ask you because it's a study of yours. Give me one thing Chicago does well defensively outside
turn the football over.
Outside of get the ball over.
And it doesn't matter. You can't take it away from them. They take the football over.
Unintended.
I think teams give it to them at times, but they don't have anything else. There's nothing else that this defense is good at. It's eventually that catches up to you. Like there's teams that we are watching going into the playoffs that Jacksonville takes the ball away too, but they play good defense, solid defense. Chicago doesn't have that.
Jacksonville can rush though. It's different.
And eventually it catches up to it. Eventually you play a team that there's like Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs. Don't give the ball to this team. Chicago in games when they don't get multiple takeaways, not just one, multiples, 2-6 this year. So if Green Bay doesn't give the ball over, one, I don't think Chicago can cover them. They don't have enough people now that Green Bay's healthy with Jaden Reed and Christian Watson, Zach Tom on their offensive line. So they're healthy. Two, and let's be honest, okay? This is not hating. Eventually, in the playoffs, when your offense is inconsistent, and I feel this way about the Broncos as well, people, so don't just make this about Caleb and Chicago. When it's inconsistent, that bites you. There's only so many times over the course of a season when you can play inconsistent offensive football and still hang on to the end of the game miracle. It's just unlikely that is going to be a storyline in the playoffs versus high-end teams that are coached well.
I take you to the Chicago Bears run to the Super Bowl against the Indianapolis Colts when they lost. Mike Brown played like a Hall of Famer in the secondary that year, and everything that he possibly could get his hands on, tips and everything else, worked. So, yes, I agree with you. Probably very hard to be consistent in that all year long and through the postseason. But by God, there are situations and in history where you can point in and go, I've seen it happen. I've seen it done. Sometimes it's just that team's year and there's nothing you can do about it because every break goes their way. And I'm not saying it's the Bears' year necessarily, but it's definitely a possibility. I think, to his point, it is about turnovers. So what he's saying is they're not going to get the turnovers and the Packers are going to win the game. And what I've been saying is the Packers better get 1 or 2 turnovers if they want to win the game. So we're kind of saying the same thing, but still not saying the same thing in the aspect of we both say it comes down to turnovers, but I say the Packers have to get a couple. He says not at all if the Bears don't get any off of you. Good stuff either way. Love Dan Orlovsky. Go ahead.
All right, next up here, we're going to head over to Chicago, where head coach Ben Johnson was a little nicer today, a little less robotic, and he was discussing Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney and the praise that he has for them.
Both him and McKinney are really good. I don't know if there's a better safety tandem right now this year. And I know, the team we faced last week, they had a couple guys that are hurt. Those are 2 really good players as well. But these 2 guys, you just got to account for them. It's I think the safety position in general is one that it's rare that you go into a game feeling like there's an impact player, and yet this particular week, like these 2 guys they're all over the field. I think they're highly instinctive. They do a great job when the ball's in the air, making plays. I know McKinney had all those interceptions last year. He did a great job with that. And then I think it's been pretty cool to see Evan Williams just kind of grow over the course of his career to where he's an impact player for him now. We gotta do our best to take them out of the running game because they're very active. They do a great job tackling. And then when our backs get them one-on-one, they have done a good job all year getting these backs down. And so we got a big challenge in front of us there, and Halfley's done a nice job putting them in good spots.
Very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. From bloodthirsty eyes to puppy dog, literally in 24 hours. What happened to angry Ben Johnson? Did he sleep? Is that what happened? He finally gets some rest, and now he's calm and chilled out?
That's what it seems like.
No
He's
idea.
cool now.
All right, I'll give you my prize picks lineup. I made it in the break. We'll get to that coming up in the next hour as well. Plus, our green and gold update went from Matt LaFleur, Jeff Halfley, and more Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs was on fire yesterday talking to the media. Jeff Halfley also addressed the head coaching rumors. So we'll do that coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios. Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Charlie using over there. Coming up at 5 o'clock, Wisconsin Sports wrap up with Tommy Wirtz. Should be a fun show from 5 to 6. Then tomorrow, Wisconsin Sports Radio Network back out on the road. Today, we were at Margaritas in Green Bay, a couple blocks off of Lambeau, right there on Lombardi Avenue, 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makaloff, both there doing the show. Noon to 2, Mitch Thundernellis was there as part of the Mason Crosby show. Great food, great drinks, great chips and salsa and all of that. Thunder was in heaven. I mean, you tell Thunder there's food somewhere. Yeah, okay, yeah, sounds good. How long do you need me to be there? Will you feed me? Yes, I'm in. Let's go. Thunder loves food.
Well, I think that's like the first Mexican place we've been to, so he's got to like spread out a little bit. At least since we've
first Mexican restaurant. Yeah, I think you're right.
So he gets to spread out his taste a little bit too. Got a chimichanga in honor of Tommy, probably. You know, it's all good.
So that's where they were. That's where they were today. Tomorrow, we're on the road in West Allis at Natty Oaks Pub and Eatery on National Avenue. We'll be there from noon until 6 p.m. Thunder back on the road again tomorrow from noon until 2. I'll be there with Wisconsin Sports Daily from 2 until 5, and then a special playoff preview show with Tommy Wirtz from 5 until 6 o'clock. Now, Natty Oaks, we've been there before a couple of times leading up to the Brewers games in September, earlier in the fall. So looking forward to going back there. Their food is amazing. Like that food I've had before. I'd never been to Margaritas in Green Bay before, but everybody that was there said it was amazing. Natty Oaks, I've had their food. We've ate lunch there before doing the shows in the past. Delicious. So come on out, stop by, say hi to us at Natty Oaks Pub and Eatery, National Avenue, West Allis, tomorrow between noon and 6. You said you had some breaking baseball news?
I do. So from Alden Gonzalez, ESPN MLB report, he says sources, all 9 MLB teams have terminated their agreements with Main Street Sports, largely as a way of keeping their options open during an unstable time. The company remains in dialogue with all of them, but for now, they're all free agents. Those 9 teams are the Braves, Marlins, Brewers, Royals, Angels, Reds, Cardinals, Rays, and Tigers.
Okay, so I have a couple of thoughts on this. Number one, if I'm those MLB teams, I'm fine with ESPN on a 1-year deal. That's all I'm doing. That's it. Or not ESPN, MLB. MLB is going to control it. 1 year. The reason I'm fine with that is with the uncertainty of baseball being played or not played in 27, the collective bargaining agreement ending in December of 26. I don't think I want to be in the middle of starting a new relationship and then all these advertisers, they sold everything else now. They're having to refund money, move stuff around after you miss 2 months of the season. God forbid we miss a whole season next year. But that is somewhere where if I'm a team, I want to get through that, sign the new collective bargaining agreement. No, if I sign a 5-year deal with whoever, there's not going to be interruption because there's too much of a possibility of being in an interrupted season next year. So that's why I think it makes sense to do that. Now, what would I like to see as a Brewers fan? I would like to see one of these over-the-air stations pick him up. Very, very difficult to do, mind you, because the ABC affiliate in Milwaukee is not the same as the ABC affiliate in Wausau or the same ABC affiliate in Green Bay or in Duluth Superior, which means there's going to be a lot of legwork that has to go in by the Milwaukee Brewers to pull off an over-the-air network for all these baseball games to be on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, one of those. That's the first thing. The second thing, and the reason why I don't think it's probably going to be possible, is because there's too many games. It would wipe out their primetime lineups that all of these networks demand that you carry. So that's why I don't think that would be a possibility. Now, is there another alternative to where you can put the games? Like the CW, for instance, right? Could you make that work around the state? and pull that off potentially at the end of the day. I don't know, but I don't like the idea of starting your own network without the Bucks being involved. I think the chances of success are very, very small to run your own TV station. The Cubs are trying it on Marquee down there. It's a very tough deal to try and do that. And I don't think Rick Schlesinger and the Brewers want to even attempt that at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of open. It feels like that should be something worth trying. MTV, they just shut down their station, so like all those numbers are wide open. It should be easier just to buy that out in the Wisconsin market.
Find a number.
You can do that fine.
Yeah, you can find a number. That's not the issue. The issue is the studio costs that go along with it, hiring all the people to sell it, hire all the people from a production standpoint, hire all the on-air talent. That is a lot of overhead that you right off the bat, you're in the hole, right? Now you got to figure out, how do I make all of that back? And I'm not a year-round sport. I play for a lot of the year, for sure, right? So spring training games, say March, all the way till like October. Now I've got to feel October, November, December, January, and February. That's 5 months that you got to fill programming with. And I guess you could replay games from that year. Or if you have they should, they're the Brewers, play back old games and stuff like that, have individual programs that are Brewers only in the offseason. Any
old Brewers documentaries that have ever been made,
right,
by
just
the
a bit
rights
outside
to them,
on a
right?
loop all day, every day, right? But whatever it is, it's a huge undertaking. I just don't think Schlesinger and the Brewers would want to do that. However, if they were in the bed with, say, the Bucks and the Badgers, or the Bucks and Marquette, or whatever, or all of them, right? So Badgers are on there, because the Badgers are on all over the place too, right? So the Badgers have a few games on there. Marquette has a few games on there. You get the Milwaukee Admirals maybe involved to have a few games on there. Go to some of these Northwood Leagues teams, right, around the state. Maybe some of them get a couple of games on there throughout the course of the year. Or these independent teams around the area, like the Milwaukee Milkmen or the Lakeshore Chinooks or whatever the other independent teams are around the state of Wisconsin. Maybe that works out. Like the Bullfrogs, isn't that the name of the team in Green Bay? I think is the Bullfrogs. Chris Sabo, you don't remember who Chris Sabo is, wore goggles, played for the Cincinnati Reds. He was the manager of that team at one point. I don't know if he's still there or not, but anyhow. So from that perspective, it would work. But again, the undertaking is so big. I just don't see how any one of these groups are going to want to take it all on themselves.
What if these, could the teams kind of pair up together and
That's
just
what I'm saying. All of them go in together,
but just not to the MLB, just on their own, and create a network where they can just play all their games,
like a
on one station.
16, yeah, sure. Yeah,
That'd
I
be
guess
kind of interesting.
I'd
I'd be okay with that.
Then your money, but now you got to hire somebody to control all of these studios around the country, all the satellite trucks, everything that goes along with it. Again, a huge undertaking.
I was gonna say the Angels kind of messed it up a little bit, but the rest of the teams are all East Coast, Midwest.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be that hard, but then the Angels messed it up by being all the way over
but
there.
But again, having LA and Atlanta.
Big Ten figured it out.
Right, but having LA and Atlanta in the mix with their size markets, it would be gigantic.
Help a lot.
From a revenue standpoint and so forth, to sell national advertising that would cover every market you're on. Then again, you're splitting revenue money and all of this other stuff. I don't know. My guess is MLB is just going to run it, and they're eventually going to take it all over. They'll own everything and try and run it that way so they get their mitts on even more money than they already have. And then the teams will be guaranteed. So let's say, okay, you're all on, right? We guarantee you $100 million every year in ad revenue. Anything over that, we keep, right? And go from there. And then that way they figure out how they can make more money. Having said that, in order for that even to work, you're relying completely on national sales unless you're going to have a local sales manager and team in an office somewhere in Wisconsin selling to the local people. Otherwise, it's going to be all national type spots.
Which, if you were to put it all together in the 9 teams, might not be that bad of a deal, though.
Right, but it's going to limit what you can get and who you can go to. Because again, I mean, think about it. If I'm a local business in Wisconsin and I'm watching the Brewers game, right, and I want to promote whatever, my dental office or my car dealership or whatever, that's out the window because they're going to have no boots on the ground here in order to sell it So then you're going to have to jump through 6 hoops to try and find somebody to actually talk to sell it. And then if the rate is the same in Milwaukee as it is in Atlanta, that's a complete fail because that's cost of living is not the same. So yeah, that's why I say, man, like I don't know. This is not good. That much I can tell you. I don't think this is a good deal for the Milwaukee Brewers right now. And I'm sure Rick Schlesinger would be great to have on right now, but I fear that he'll say nothing. And then we're going to have him on. And I don't know. We'll just see I'm not going to learn anything. I'd love for him to come in here, sit down, and like do the ABCs of how this is all going to work. That's what I'd like to know.
I think he'd still give you semi-interesting answer. He wouldn't shut you down all the way. He likes you a little bit, Sparky.
He does. He does. Yeah, that's true. Yes, that is true. So I don't know. Maybe we'll reach out to Rick Schlesinger next week. We'll try and get Rick Schlesinger on the show. Time to get to, what time is it? Yeah. All right. We still got time. We'll still do it. All right. Let's get to our green and gold update.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Yes. Time for our green and gold update. I had told you that Josh Jacobs had a whole bunch of stuff to say. We're going to get to that. Before that, though, Jeff Hafley, who I like listening to more than anybody on that Packers coaching staff, really anybody anywhere. Like if you said you could pick one coach, baseball, basketball, football in the state of Wisconsin, just to put on and you're going to listen to him for like a half hour, I'd pick him every day of the week.
Yeah, I think so. He had 12,000 views on his video from yesterday, and Adam Stanovich and Rich Bisaccia barely made 1.5 thousand views combined. Just to let you know where he's at. Yeah. You're not alone, Sparky.
It's not close. No. Jeff Hafley talking about his name floating around in the head coaching opening conversations.
I'll tell you this. It's hearing my name out there. That's obviously extremely flattering and very humbling, right? And I think when you work for an organization like the Packers and have a head coach like Matt and players like we do and a defensive staff like we do, I'm just honored to be in those. I think right now with all that stuff, it can be a distraction. So I'm trying to lock in on these playoffs and do the best that we can. And then whenever that time comes, we'll figure it out and go from there. But extremely honored and flattered, just to be mentioned. And you asked me that question. But for right now, this is the Bears. I mean, this is one of the biggest rivalries in all football, one that I have watched for a very long time. Did not end the way we wanted to the last time we played there. So I am going to do everything in my power to focus on every minute that I have to give this organization and our players everything I got to go win this game.
What have these 2 years meant to you? And what do you think about what you've put together with this group? And just what has it been like for you? Because it seems that you're pretty damn passionate about this group that you've been.
Yeah, I love this group. I love being part of the Green Bay Packers. And I never take that for granted every day when I drive in and I get to see Lambeau Field, honestly. I mean, I'm a guy who started coaching Division III football and worked my way up to be a college head coach. And now I'm part of the greatest NFL organization that there is, getting called plays. So that is so humbling to me. I love the defensive players that we coach. Like, I love these guys, and I love the staff, and I love working for Matt. And I never take that for granted, not 1 second, which is why when I answer that question, I don't think it'd be fair to anybody in here, anybody a part of this, for me not to give everything I have for this game. Would one day I like to be a head coach again? Absolutely, for sure. But like, just even answering this question for you right now, I just am so grateful and so happy to be here and be part of this. And I've just loved coming to work every single day here. Like, even joking with you guys, like, I know sometimes it's hard and you ask hard questions, but you guys have been incredible. And I mean that. And it's not like that everywhere. So I thank you guys for that. Everything that I have been a part of here, from Goody to Ed to Matt, it's just been like, what a blessing to be here for me and my family. So I appreciate that. And we are not going to be done. So I will see you guys next week.
I love we are not going to be done. I'll see you guys next week. That's good. Matt LaFleur, say this. Say that. Do that. That's what I want to hear, that confidence. Not like cocky or arrogant or talking down. Just, yeah, we're going to be here next week. We got more work to do. Beautiful. His answer about being in the conversation and being humble, being all this. He was a head coach at Boston College. My belief is he was about to get let go probably within the next year or two, that it just wasn't going the right way. You definitely can understand why, if you put him in a room and said, interview with this owner, he's going to win the interview. He is going to knock the socks off of anybody that interviews him for a job. Some people stink at it. Great at their job. But you put them in an interview situation, stumbling, fumbling, quiet, don't know what to say, and then they don't get hired and they go back to their job where they're a rock star. And they would have been a rock star at the next job. Can't figure out how to do it in an interview. Then there are other people that aren't that good at a job, but will win every interview you put them in, will continue to move their way up the ladder until somebody figures out that, what are we doing? This dude doesn't know what he's doing. And he's advanced this far in 2 years. Great in interviews, right? It works. And to be a head coach in the National Football League or a manager in baseball or whatever, you must win the interview with the owner or with the GM before they give you a chance. That's why so many times when you hear about guys not getting head coaching jobs, a lot of times it's because they're not that good in the interview and they don't walk away impressed with you. They know your resume, but they don't walk away convinced that you're going to be the guy to represent them the way they want you to represent them.
Well, and especially in situations like the head coach positions that are open right now in New York, you're going to have a lot of pressure from the ownership. You're going to have them breathing down your neck, and they're going to want to know who you are right away. The Atlanta, Art Blank, he's going to want to know you right away. He loves being a part of that team, and he's going to be breathing down your neck. It won't let you forget it. Head over to Las Vegas. Over there, you're going to have somebody breathing down your neck. All these teams, except for maybe like Tennessee, in my mind, that's the only team I can think that the ownership may not be as involved in. The rest of these teams, you're going to have that type of situation. And I think Jeff Hafley will be able to sell himself right away, but he has to prove it beyond that, because these owners are going to be sitting there watching you at any given point. And if you can't perform right away, like we've seen with some of these guys like Raheem Morris in Atlanta this past year, they are not afraid to get rid of you. And then it's going to be much harder to find a job moving forward, unless it's this season where nobody else is available.
Correct. And that's the thing. When there's nobody else available. But in his case, the people that are available are the people that do the same thing as him, defensive coaches. This is much different if it's a plethora of offensive guys and only a couple of defensive guys. Well, he's going to win that every day of the week because not many people are going to interview better than he is. Let's get to some Josh Jacobs stuff as well. He brought up, they asked him about, do you want to play the Bears? Do you want to play the Eagles? Who you want to play, Josh?
Josh, the sentiment around the locker room was that you guys really wanted to see the Bears in the playoffs. Did you feel that way as well?
I want to see the Bears. I want to see the Eagles. I mean, I feel like it's a few teams that we kind of like still, owe some things to. And, those two of the teams that I felt like I wanted the most. So I really didn't care where we went. I was just ready to be in there and ready to figure out when we play so I can get my mind right.
This is the thing. I want this locker room to think like him. From the idea of not that we're a spoiled organization like we talked about him saying at 3:00, but from the idea of we owe them. That's what I want. I want the we owe them mentality coming into this game. I want that to be resonating throughout the entire week. That to be the driving force at kickoff on Saturday night at 7:00. When we do the Green Bay Football postgame show, powered by Lakeland University, Saturday night from 10 to midnight, myself and Josh Albrecht, because Tommy is off. When we have that show, I want to talk about, man, they physically beat the crap out of the Bears. That was awesome. I want to have that conversation. And I want to hear these dudes at their lockers talking about, we owed them, we're even. Philly's next. Let's go. Or whoever it is going to be. Well, they won't know, I guess, at that point. But either way, that's what you want. You want that mentality coming in. Not what Matt LaFleur said yesterday, which was, it's just another game. Yeah. It's just preparing for like every other game. Meh. I can't make him be somebody who he's not. And that's fine. But that Bears team is going to be ready to run through a damn wall for Ben Johnson. And you have to match the intensity on Saturday night. If you don't, they're going to bulldoze you over.
Well, it's not just matching the intensity at some point in the game. It has to be from snap one. It has to be right away.
From
you
the
have
kickoff. That's when it all started the last time.
You got to get under their skin. You got to. That's the only way to get into the head of this Bears team. And if they get under your skin first, they take advantage of that every single time. This is a team that likes to be annoying. Don't let them be annoying. Keep treating them like the little brother and push them down.
Exactly right. Then he gets into Josh Jacobs, gets into talking about Jordan Love and what happened to him leaving that game with the concussion, the helmet-to-helmet hit.
I don't know if he's going to be a little more up. I mean, it's hard to. He's kind of who he is. You know what I'm saying? Which is the thing I love the most about him, because the moments are never too big. He's never really rattled in those situations. But I know, a lot of guys took that hit that he took a little personal. So I'm not saying we're going to go out there and play dirty or nothing like that, but we definitely going to defend our brothers.
Guys, again, I root for the Packers. I want y'all to whip the Bears. But can you please explain to me how, 3 weeks now later, guys took it personal? Really? Because there is no chance you could have convinced me of that watching that game after it happened. You couldn't convince me of anything. Y'all just went about playing the same way you were playing. The hardest hit by anybody was Keyshawn Nixon earlier in the game. That didn't happen after Love. Like, if that would have happened after Love went down, I'd be like, okay, that's some payback from the Packers defense. Like, you want to screw with one of our guys, we'll screw with one of yours. But that's not what happened. They did nothing after that happened. Like, if there was going to ever be a call for a late hit, there it was. Here's your chance. Somebody smoke Caleb Williams. Take 2 steps instead of 1, or whatever the rule is. Take an extra step and drill them. There. Now we're even. Now let's
Jordan
play.
Morgan, you want to know how you get people to like you a little bit more? By going and defending your quarterback like that.
Yes.
Go out there and build that relationship.
Whatever.
Gets you respect with not only Jordan Love, but everybody on that team. Yeah,
Nobody did it.
Nobody. They all stood and stared and watched as he laid on the ground, stood over him. Like, they didn't help at all. That's awful.
I'll tell you this. From my perspective, Love put his head down and kind of put his head into it, right? So I said that night at Bo's game, and I still don't think he should have been kicked out or anything of the sort. I'm reacting to what he said. He said they felt a certain way about what went down, which means they felt it was wrong. Well, by all means, if you felt it was wrong, then do something. Now, you can't do something every time one of your guys gets punked. No. But when it's your quarterback, you better do something. You have to do something. Well, if somebody punks, love you, but somebody punks Matthew Golden, yeah, you don't got to retaliate.
But one person should probably be there. I think the whole team should be there for Jordan Love. But I think if you see somebody on your team getting bullied, getting thrown around, you be there for your teammate. That's what you're supposed to do. That's part of being a part of a team. Doesn't matter who the person is. If it's your punter and he gets pushed over, you go and defend your punter. That's what you're supposed to do.
Well, the punter may be the MVP of the team lately. Dan Whelan, that dude's
Matt LaFleur hyped him up for longer than anybody else in his press conference today.
Dude, he's unbelievable. Green and Gold update here, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Speaking of the one and only Matt LaFleur, he talked a little bit earlier today before practice.
What are you guys doing today, practice-wise?
We are. There's nothing top secret about it. It's just what we decided to do is go into Lambeau. And I think a lot of it is just the grass in Lambeau is better than that on our practice field. It's been it hasn't been great on the practice field this year. I think a lot of it's due to the weather and the amount of precipitation we've gotten. So it's a little bit softer. So Lambeau's in better shape. So we'd rather go there.
Do you think that is also would better replicate what you'll see in Chicago? Or?
Not necessarily, but I do think just after judging practice and seeing guys, you can tell guys are really concerned about their footing. So it's best to get a quality practice in Lambeau.
That field is notoriously bad. How was it when you played down there, and what do you know about it?
I actually thought it was fine last time we played down there. So it was more the wind than anything else, right?
You've obviously gone to the playoffs a bunch in your tenure here. What's the key to success? I mean, is it the same as any other games or something?
I think the more normal you can make it, the better chance you have. Just say throughout my experiences, when you got to just do your job and focus on your job. And we know this. Like anytime you're playing a really good football team, whether it's in the playoffs or in the regular season, every play is so critical. So you can't have lapses, whether it's intensity, whether it's mental lapses. They just can't happen because every play is so valuable, so critical. There's no wasted plays. And then I think ultimately what it comes down to is your ability to execute. And I would say this, that in the biggest of games, your best players have to play their best.
Paging you, Jordan Love. Paging you, Jordan Love. That is your call to duty of, dude, you got to go ball. Because outside of Adrian Cooper, not really sure what else we're going to do. Now, Ben Johnson praised Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney. We played that back during Charlie Sounds of the Day. Loving on both of those guys at safety as far as how difficult they are to play against. That's great. But as far as impact players, you have Jordan Love, you have Christian Watson. I can't put Josh Jacobs in there. He's not a home run threat. Can he be an impact as far as averaging 5.5 yards a carry? Yes. Is he going to break one and score from 30? Probably not. Right? So guys that are going to be big play guys, explosive play guys, Love and Watson for sure. And then maybe Jaden Reed gets loose, somehow, some way. Maybe that happens. You have nobody to speak of on the defensive side of the ball as far as big explosive plays. We all love Edgerrin Cooper. How many big game-changing plays has he had this year?
He's been solid. He's been a really good tackler. He's been able to meet guys at the line of scrimmage.
Game-changing.
Not game-changing, though.
No. In general, this defense, outside of Micah Parsons, doesn't have that guy. So if somebody steps up to be that guy, it would be great if it were to be this Saturday night at kickoff at 7 o'clock, right? If Rashawn Gary, because Mike Wall, former Packer offensive lineman, seems to think Gary's going to get a sack or two in this game. If he's right, okay, well, that could be game-changing depending on when the sacks are, right? Big third or fourth down play late in that game, he gets a sack or a strip sack and a fumble and the game's over. Oh, man, that would be unbelievable. Egg on everybody's face, but I'd be fine with it.
It'd be okay.
I'd be fine
It'd be
with
okay.
it. Yeah, I'd be fine with it. So there's your Green and Gold update, powered there by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up next, I want to get into what's going on in college football because I had an epiphany that I think maybe at the end of the day, this Wild Wild West stuff might actually be the best thing that could have happened to Wisconsin. I'll explain. Coming up next is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. See Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. So I said before the break that I had a little bit of an epiphany. And as much as I hate to do this, I'm telling you, there are many things in life that I hate worse than having to give Brett Bielema credit for anything. Former Badger coach, now coach in Illinois. But he's the one that led me to my epiphany at the end of the day. So this is from Dan Wetzel, who is an ESPN senior writer. Illinois coach Brett Bielema to ESPN on the portal NIL era, bringing increased parity and renewed hope to college football. Quote, "This is the most fun I've ever had in coaching because you know you're on a more equal playing field. Now you just have to come to work every day knowing that blue blood, red blood, orange blood, or whatever, everybody's got a chance, man."
They really do. I think you look at the landscape of what has happened in the transfer portal so far, for good or bad, everybody has a chance right now. It's kind of crazy to see that.
This is the thing, though. And when he said it and I read it, and I was like, this was late last night. I don't know what time it was. And I saw it and I was like, well, I mean, you look at the Badgers right now. You said they got another running back today as well.
Yep, let me go
So
back.
they got another running back today, plus Eugene Hilton, T.Y. Hilton's kid, who entered the portal, who we just talked the other day to John McNamara about. I'm like, oh, my goodness. Him leaving just stinks. He's back. He decided to come back to Wisconsin after seeing all the moves Wisconsin is making, and they probably paid him more. So he is back at Wisconsin. So that drastically helps that wide receiver group for Colton Joseph, the new quarterback from Old Dominion that they brought in. They get a gigantic offensive lineman from Florida State, a gigantic offensive lineman from, where was it, Ole Miss?
Yeah, Paris.
Paris Wilkins.
Wilkins, yeah.
That is crazy when you see some of what's going on. And I had put it on X last night that clearly they are spending way more money in the portal this year than they have in the past. Now, will it work? Well, we'll see. But it's clear as day they've definitely increased spending.
Well, and not just increased spending, but increased spending in the places that Wisconsin has notoriously been good at. They're going back to their roots, too, a little bit. This is their third running back. TCU transfer Nate Palmer has committed to Wisconsin. That's the running back we were talking about before. That's the third one they've got in the portal so far. And the number one guy, Abu Sama, is one of the top recruits in that portal class so far this season. So they went out there and did that. Colton Joseph, the quarterback, is a dual threat quarterback that can run the ball as well as he can throw the ball, which I don't know if that's a bad thing for his throwing ability or a good thing for his running ability. But either or, it's something we've asked for this Badgers team to go out and at least try, give that dual threat quarterback a shot to work in this system. And then defensively, they're just going out there and getting a ton of cornerbacks and locking down the cornerback position. Again, a position that they have notoriously been good at over the past few years and beyond. They're going back to their roots. It feels right.
It does feel right. You're right about that. Nate Palmer, by the way, was a redshirt freshman this last season or current season. Former top 40 running back in the 24 class, ran for 139 yards, 4.6 yards per carry this season as a redshirt freshman. The other thing that they've been doing is they're getting guys with multiple years of eligibility left and getting them. Now, that does not mean they can maintain them and keep them year to year, because nowadays you essentially have to give raises to all these guys in order to keep them. Otherwise, they're heading into the portal and getting more money from somewhere else.
But by doing that, they're also getting guys that they've recruited themselves, like Carter Smith, to stick around a little bit more. I think the idea that a player like Colton Joseph could have success at Wisconsin and maybe take that next step up gives Carter Smith hope to stick around and see what he can do and maybe still compete even this season. But you're getting other guys to buy into this plan in order to trust Luke Fickell as the head coach, which is something that Kurt Cignetti has done really well, and getting those younger guys to stick around and have that hope of having a chance.
Absolutely right about that. The one thing that they still need to do more of, because they lost Charles Perkins, the redshirt junior defensive lineman, is going into the portal. He had 6 tackles last year for the Badgers, 2 tackles for losses. They have got to get a couple more defensive linemen, big, wide-body defensive linemen, to come in here and get into this rotation for the Badgers.
Yeah, that's the one position group that they haven't been able to really attack. And you talk about history of the Badgers having one of those dominant edge rushers and then big bodies in the middle is kind of classic Wisconsin. Still missing that, but with all the other stuff that's been happening, it's hard to kind of dote on that.
Christian Allegro, did you see where he went?
I did see
He
that.
went to Ohio State is where Christian Allegro ends up at the end of the day. They were pursuing a Tulsa defensive lineman as well. He went to Indiana instead of Wisconsin.
What's at least, I guess, semi-positive out of that news is that he's not leaving Wisconsin to go to Virginia Tech. He's not leaving Wisconsin to go to Florida or Florida State or anything like that. It's Ohio State. It's one of the best teams in the country. You're losing your players to the best teams in the country. That should make you feel kind of good about what you've done this season.
Absolutely right. Yeah, no doubt about it. So speaking of Ohio State, if you were watching the first couple of days of portal news, they were getting ravaged by programs taking guys away from them, including the Badgers, who got a cornerback who a lot of people thought would be the starting nickelback for Ohio State this year after he was backing up last year. And he leaves Ohio State to go to Wisconsin and probably come in and start right away, or at least have a competition to come in and start at cornerback. Now these athletes that you could not recruit to save your life to come here and play out of high school, now you can get these 4- and 5-star guys. So, for instance, when you watch the playoff game tonight and tomorrow night, right? More than likely, at some point, they're going to have the graphic on TV, right? Ole Miss has so many 5-star players, or Indiana has so many 4-star players. Whatever, you're going to see it. And then there's going to be a comparison between the two teams of whether or not they're even or not. Well, I mean, before, the Badgers got 1 5-star. They got some 4 stars, but mostly they're 2 and 3-star. But because of the portal and what their star rating was out of high school, that's going to change the math on how talented this team is based on recruiting rankings completely. And you're not recruiting any better than you were before, but you're excelling in the portal, taking these guys from programs where they're not playing because they're uber talented guys in front of them, but can come play for you and make a huge impact and upgrade the talent on your roster.
Kind of. I also feel like the high school rankings have lost their luster a little bit, especially considering the transfer portal has their own set of rankings for these players where they re-rank them, but depending on where they're coming from and what they did the last season. So I don't know if teams put as much stock into those high school star ratings as they used to. And because of that, I think that kind of changes the way you look at some of these guys. It really is about what they did recently. What have you done for me recently? And that's how they're going and getting these guys. Yeah, having that high potential is nice, but at the same time, you want to win now in this landscape.
Absolutely right. I'm looking at the transfer portal team rankings from 24/7 Sports. Okay. This was updated as of 4:15. So a half hour or so ago, this was updated to include everybody. Number 1, Penn State. Number 2, a team that the Badgers have several players from, Oklahoma State. They think they've improved. LSU 3, Texas Tech 4, Indiana is 5.
I expected them to be a little higher with all the news you hear out of there.
Correct.
All right.
So now after you get past Indiana at 5 and you start scrolling down and now you're looking for the next Big Ten school, UCLA is 16. USC is 18. The Badgers are 19. And then Texas at 20.
That's pretty cool. I mean, UCLA and USC, they haven't been as successful, and they're just destination spots. Like, kids just want to go play in LA, go play in Southern California. Wisconsin isn't that. They're just doing this off of what Luke Fickell is selling right now.
Correct. Yep. So that's good stuff. Top 20 in the portal team rankings right now. Hopefully this coaching staff can get more out of these guys than they were getting out of them at other schools around the country. So I do think this is going to lead to more parity. I do think that you're not going to see dynasties being formed anymore like the Saban Crimson Tide. I think those days are done. I just do. I think every year you start talking about Final Fours, I bet you at least half of the Final Four every year will be different. Potentially 3 of 4 will be different on a year-to-year basis. Nobody predicted the Final Four this year as we sit here in the semifinals tonight and tomorrow night.
I think you also look at how it's changing and say, you know what? I don't think coaches are going to stick around nearly as long. You're already seeing them get fired at a really high rate. I mean, if it's going to be a different team every year and you're really good one year and really bad another year, colleges aren't going to give you a shot again. They're just going to fire you and go to the next hot name.
That's exactly correct. Charlie using over there, Steve Sparky Fiver here, Potawatomi Sportsbook, baby. That's where you want to be to watch your college football playoff games, watch your pro games, the playoff games coming up this weekend and on Monday night. Basketball, pro or college, hockey going on as well. All you got to do is head down to the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's unbelievable. 2 levels, 2,000 square foot screen. You got unbelievable Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen. You can reserve your seat ahead of time. A nominal fee goes towards your food and beverage. Just go to Potawatomi.com, search for the sports book, and make your reservation. 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails. They got all-day brunch, wraps, salads, burgers, you name it, they got it. And desserts, homemade desserts daily at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. So check it out today. The Potawatomi Sportsbook, best sportsbook in the Midwest per me. How about those apples? Per me, best sportsbook in the Midwest. You can find a better one. By all means, send me pictures and reviews of their kitchen, and we'll go from there at that point. Coming up next, Things Sparky Missed, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you, Charlie using their other side of the glass. Time now to get to our segment that we enjoy doing so much.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
Quickly here, the Packers injury report. Only difference from yesterday today, Zach Tom went from limited participation to not participating. That's not good. Aaron Banks, who's been resting all week, is a limited participant. Only changes for the Green Bay Packers. The Chicago Bears have 6 different changes designated for their injury report. All of them from limited to full participation. So, dandy. They're getting healthier. Packers, not so much. Charlie Usen, let's talk about the Milwaukee Brewers as they're trying to avoid arbitration with a bunch of guys. Today, what do we have?
So they had 6 players they were looking to avoid arbitration with. The first to sign today was their recently traded for Angel Zerpa. He signed for $1.1 million. He was traded from the Kansas City Royals for Isaac Collins and Nick Mears. Nick Mears signed for arbitration with the Royals early today as well. Second up, Trevor McGill, closer for the Milwaukee Brewers, signed a deal for $4.7 million himself, followed shortly by Bryce Terang, who signed his deal for $4.2 million. Andrew Vaughn is the big winner of the day. He signed his deal for $7.7 million. I was a little surprised it was that much more than Bryce Terang in this situation. And then lastly, Garrett Mitchell signed his deal for $950,000 to avoid arbitration. William Contreras was the only Milwaukee Brewer to remain unsigned.
I don't know what they're going to do there. I will say this. I don't want to make him mad in an arbitration session. I do. I don't want to be in that situation. And I hope and pray that they don't end up in that situation and have him mad like Corbin Burns was, like Josh Hader was, and the rest of them.
Well, Fangraphs were currently projected, or at that point, projected the Brewers to sign William Contreras or to agree on $10 million at that point. If that number was not agreed upon, I find it hard to believe that they are going to make him happy at all.
But the key is that he's not in the room. Like, that's the only key here. Just don't go to your arbitration hearing. Let your agent go in there and hear all the negative crap they have to say about you. Don't you go in there and do it. He did that whole letter to the Players Journal this year about how he loves Milwaukee and he'd love to stay in Milwaukee and so forth. But it takes 2 to tango on an extension. And I believe that they would like to get him extended, but I don't think he wants to be extended. He wants to get to free agency to see how much money he can cash in on, probably more than what the Brewers will be able to afford, which I completely get and understand. They wanted to get an extension now with Freddie Peralta. They couldn't figure out how or what the money needed to be for what Peralta wanted prior to the season, so they played it out, and now Peralta's in a situation of either A, going to be traded, hope not, or B, go to free agency and probably make even more money than what he was originally asking for from the Brewers if he puts on another good year coming up this next season for the Brewers.
Probably. And I think that there may be a chance he still gives the Brewers a chance in free agency if he gets to that point. But I mean, some team is going to pay him a boatload of money, man.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I think he's going to get paid a lot of money. I don't know if he's going to get paid money to be a true ace, but he'll probably get paid money, number 2 money. Right?
I would think so. I mean, there's not a lot of catchers that are in that range right now. It's either you're really good or you're not that good.
Coming up tomorrow, we're on the road. The Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis. This show, I'll be out there, and a special playoff preview show with Tommy Wirtz at Natty Oaks Pub and Eatery in West Allis on National Avenue from noon until 6 o'clock tomorrow. Come on down, have a bite to eat, have a couple beverages, hang out with us at Natty Oaks tomorrow. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up next, Tommy Wirtz will take you home from 5 until 6 o'clock with Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up. Have a good night, everyone. Toodles.